I think, early on, when I was very young, I couldn't distinguish between what written music and improvised music was. So I was trained to learn more by ear. I mean, there was a book, but the reading was kind of second fiddle. But then, I was into like classic rock in middle school and the screaming guitar players, but then, my first jazz album was like Brubeck Take 5. How do people get into jazz? It's gotta be like a classic, like, really well selling album. And it's either gonna be that one or Kinda Blue, and for me it was that one. It's the climate economically has changed. For me, I take it as I have to do a lot more of the work that 10 or 20 people used to do. I am like my own manager. I am my own booking agent. I'm the roadie. My big thing now is that my CDs and my recordings are almost like a business card, and I just want to get my music out there, and I know I will gain some new audience members in my live shows if I do that. So. What do I do when I work with students and suggest to them ideas on how they can break out of the traditional jazz education mold? First, it's important to point out that with the new institutions of jazz education, there's been somewhat of a breakdown of the old model of jazz apprenticeship, where established professional jazz musicians would take younger musicians under their wing. So how does a young student who doesn't have access to those kinds of opportunities, which are more and more rare, get to find his way or her way in the professional world? And I would say look to your peers, I mean, that really is the best way, because at least your peers you are growing together, and it's important to find the right young musicians who are as motivated as you are and will push you. So, the sooner that you can learn how to put on your smiley face and put yourself in, and not be fake about it, but just say, I'm really interested in the kind of music that you play, and I would love to maybe pick your brain one day and find out, some of the nuts and bolts of how you do what you do. Often, more established musicians will be quite open to young players asking those kinds of questions, because it shows that they've taken an active interest in their own future, and that's the great counterpoint, the great, that's the opposite of like sitting home passively with Guitar Hero.